Hey guys, welcome to a quick tutorial from Paranormal Documentaries. What we're going to do today is we are going to learn how to make a quick Facebook cover for your paranormal investigative group. Now, yeah, this could be really easy for some people. A lot of people just throw some text on a group photo, things like that. Well, today I'm just going to show you how to make something pretty much from nothing. A lot of new groups out there, they come in and they don't have any group photos or anything like that. So what we're going to do is just kind of just gather some resources off the internet and kind of create something, that's good. So let's go ahead and go over some basics of what we're going to be using today. Well, first of all, we're going to be using Photoshop. Now, it doesn't really matter what type of version that you use. You can use practically any version that's out there, just as long as it's compatible with the brushes that we use. Now, we're going to be installing a lot of different fonts, a lot of custom fonts and things like that. Now, a lot of the pre-installed fonts that come with like OS X or Windows, they're decent. However, we want to be a little bit more creative. We want to be different from any other groups out there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to a couple font sites, pretty much just one, and just kind of gather some fonts that we want to use, things like that. There's a couple font sites out there, but there's one particular one that I always use, and I'm pretty sure that you'll find all the resources that you can from that one site. Now, another one that we're going to do is look online for some Photoshop brushes. Now, brushes aren't really particularly used just because of the fact that it's not, I never started using brushes until like later into my, I guess years of experience of Photoshop, just because of the fact that I usually did everything by hand, stuff like that. But I found out that brushes is a really good way, quick way of making your photos, making your layouts, anything like that, they stand out, make it very original and things like that. So we're going to use a lot of brushes in this one. After that, we're going to use a lot of images on like Google Images and stuff like that. We're just going to kind of just find something to use out there. I'm going to help you guys use we're gonna create two different types of covers, and we're gonna create one that's a complete photo manipulation, where we're gonna collaborate with a bunch of textures and stuff like that we gather through Google Images, and then we're gonna create one solely based off of Photoshop and brushes and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started now that I said that. So this is my desktop, nothing special by any means, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and I already have this open, so let's go ahead and close that. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create the layout for the cover. And one of the things is that with pretty much why I'm kind of going over the cover of your Facebook page is that's the one thing that stands out. That's the one thing that when people come to your site, when people come to visit and look more information, they want to see something that just stands out. And this is something that's going to kind of help you guys through that. So let's go ahead and walk you through a little bit of this. I'm not going to go in depth of what Photoshop and how to run it and stuff. Just go with what I'm telling you to do, and you'll kind of understand the process of how I'm doing things. Just for this tutorial of the Facebook cover, so I'm not gonna, like what I'm trying to say is I'm not going to go in depth with Photoshop and go over the different tools and different, functions and everything else. We're just going to use what we need to create a Facebook cover. So we're going to go ahead and press Control N or File New. And we really don't need a name. Unless you want to create a name, go ahead. But I'm just, for this sake, just put Facebook cover. And sorry, yes, my keyboard is a mechanical keyboard. It is loud. But I love it, and I'll never change it for the world. The width size is 851 pixels. You can use... Oops, I used the wrong key. I have my keybind set for the other side. So it hits 6 different camera angles. So what I was going to say is that for the width, what you can do is you can go by inches. However, pixels is just, a different way of describing the resolution size and stuff like that. For any type of graphic design, you usually go by pixels and stuff. So for right now, let's just go by pixels, and you can see on the right side there's different ways of links and stuff like that. But what we're going to do, we're select pixels. So make sure it says for width 851 pixels. For height is now 315 pixels. So we have width 851 and the height is 315. The resolution, we're going to go ahead and make it about, let's say, 250 resolution pixels per inch. So that's going to be a little bit high res, things like that. So we want it to look a little pretty. So go ahead and hit OK. So now we're going to get this little box. It's a white box, nothing fancy at all. Now you can just go ahead and over here on your left side of your toolbar area, you can just like select something and add text in there, but it's not going to look pretty by any means. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to make it stand out more. We're going to try to make it, you know, look really pretty. So the first one, what we're going to do is do photo manipulation. So what we're going to have to do is start installing some fonts. Now, here is my Google Chrome. I'm going to make it bigger for you guys. All right, so let's start a new tab. Let's go to Google, and then let's do a quick little talk about different types of textures that you can do. Now, you can create the same thing that I'm doing. Feel more than free to do that. However, I'm going to be putting the Facebook cover that I'm making right now, I'm going to put that on our actual Facebook page. If you want to do the same thing, go for it. By any means, I don't care whatsoever. However, the one thing is that you guys want to try to be original. You guys want to try to be different. So let's try to, you know, create something new. So different things that you can do is type in like metal textures, and then you'll go to Google Images right here, and then you'll just get this huge array of different types of metal textures. Now you could do a lot of photo manipulation and things like that and create something standing out. Another one is, which surprisingly is dirt textures. Now you get a lot of different looks and stuff by adding, like making this look darker and stuff, like something like this. Grab that and make it look dark. It's gonna stand out really cool. You know, make it look really earthy. It comes out, oh god, it'll look awesome. So I might work on something like that, a dirt texture. Another texture that's hardly used is a brick, like a dark brick or something like this. Do you see this one? This one's kind of like a used brick, makes it look like a rundown building, things like that. So it's kind of cool. So you might want to look into something like that as well. Another, if you really want to go into really detail, rusted metal. Now you get something really gross and grimy and things like that. That might be kind of cool. Might be. It might be too colorful and kind of pull you away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a dirt texture. So let's go ahead and type in dirt texture again. Awesome. So I got this. I really like this one, but it's not that big. It's only 640 pixels, but it's really earthly, you know, grimy and stuff like that. So that might be kind of cool. So honestly, I'm going to go ahead and use it, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to manipulate it to look full. So the best way to do this is transferring one photo to another without like having to save it and everything else. You can go to the lengths of hitting save image as, saving it, things like that, or you can just right click on it, go to copy image, go back to Photoshop, hit Control V, which is paste, or you can go to edit and paste. I'll do it again. And then what you'll see on your right side over here is your layers. I'll do this one. Okay. You'll see on the right side over here, this is your layers panel. And what that's going to do is you can add different types of photos and stuff, and it just lays on top of it, things like that. I can go more into detail with that, but right now I'm going to try to hurry and keep this tutorial condensed as much as possible. So on the layers, what we want to do is try to make a background image so that we can blend this top layer into that. So what we need to do is create a new layer, drag it under the first ground layer that we have right here. So if you saw what I did, all I did was hit down here with my mouse, see where the arrow's going, select a new layer, grab it, drag it underneath layer 1. Awesome. So now what I'm going to do is make this background darker because we want it to blend in a little. How can we do that? Easy, I'll show you. So what I ended up doing was clicking the color switcher over here, over to your left on the toolbar. I clicked that red, and now what happens is that you can select different colors, but when you pull your mouse away from that, you get the eyedropper. So you can kind of select any of the colors here to match it in, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do is select this darker brown over here. Okay, so I'm going to say okay. And now the one problem that I'm going to run into that I just realized when I looked at this photo in the color swatcher is that this side's darker, this side is lighter. So here's a quick fix. I'm going to use my Marquee tool up here on the left, the rectangle Marquee, and I'm just going to select 1/2 of it. Select the paint bucket tool over here in the toolbar, and boom, we're going to do that. Awesome. So now we have the color of that right here. Now you'll see it doesn't really match. I know that. Give me a second and it will. Trust me. Alright, so now what we need to do is create another new layer. So let's go ahead and create a new layer, but this time we do not need to drag it down. You don't have to, because it's still behind the original image. Use the rectangle Marquee tool, select the other side. Now we need to get a color that's similar to this side. So let's go ahead and pick just like a lighter side, like that. Paint bucket tool, and bam. Alright, so now you can see the difference, the color and stuff like that. Great. Now we need to blend it in. So go to the Elliptical Marquee tool. Right click on this toolbar right here. Right click on it. Go to Elliptical. And now you select, like a circle. However, what I have done is up in the top, like if we have, the best way of saying it is if we went over here and just deleted it, look at that, how hard that circle is. It doesn't blend by any means. By any means, it doesn't blend. So what we're going to do is up here where it says feather, feather blends it in. It blurs the corners in. So what we're going to do is select, let's say 40. Let's see how that looks first. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops, wrong layer. See how that blends in a little? Oops, wrong one. See, now that blends in just a little. It makes it look a little bit more realistic. So let's go ahead and do it on this side. I kind of liked it from there though. Awesome. Let's go ahead and drag the image over just a little. Now it kind of gives this really dark, earthy feel to it. It's not all the way done yet, so. Now, the other thing is that this image is just, it's too bright. It's too, like we want it to be able to stand out to where the sides are really dark and, So what we're going to do is create a vignette. A lovely vignette. So what I'm going to do is create a whole new layer. Sorry, I went ahead. Let's create a whole new layer. The color switcher, let's select black. The darkest black you can come. Hit OK. Now grab the paintbrush tool and just paint it black like that. Just like that. Go back to your elliptical tool. Create a nice little, depth of field. See how I did that? Hit delete. And look, we kind of created a nice little vignette. Now, it's too harsh right now. That vignette is just too hard to, blur in and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to right here, the occupancy right here, no, your layer panel. Sorry, I jump ahead. I've been barely sleeping and stuff like that, and so sorry. So the occupancy, we're gonna drag it down just a little. Oops, it's a little too much. Let's put it right there. Perfect. All right. So now it's still a little rough around those edges right here. Just it needs a little bit more to that area. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy and paste this area right here. So with the elliptical marquee tool, we're just going to go ahead and copy a little bit of it. However, when you do this, make sure the layer of that the dirt layer is selected. So I'm going to click it. Now I'm going to hit Control C or edit copy. Hit Control V or paste, and look, we're going to create a little bit more of a darker area. However, we want this area to be more like kind of darker to where this area in the middle is more standing out. So hit Control V again, and we're going to create another layer of that. And as you can see right here, there's a little line. It's hard to see, but it's there. And we need to get rid of that. Once again, elliptical tool, selected, delete, and it blends in perfectly. See, now it's just this nasty looking dirt, roots, makes you look like you're 6 feet under, things like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the other side of this right here, and we're gonna do the same exact thing. Hit Control V, which is paste, drag this over. Now the thing is the one thing you got to worry about is, see how these two mimic each other right here? It's the same pattern. You can run into these type of problems a lot, and the way to fix that is to kind of switch things up. So hit Control T. What that does is it's Control Transform. You can also go to Edit Transform or Free Transform right there. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate it just like that. That way it kind of creates a whole new texture to this area. Now this area doesn't really need much blending, to be quite honest. It kind of looks good that way. To me it looks good, I think. So I'm into the bathroom. So now what we're going to do is we want to try to make the center part stand out. We wanted this part to kind of pop out to you. What we're going to do is on this layer area, we want to make sure that the texture layer and the vignette is these two top ones. So select underneath that middle texture layer, select new layer, go over to your paintbrush tool again, and paint it. See, now it just made everything super dark. Now there's different blending modes that you can do. I hit something on my desk. Now there's different blending modes that we can do to make it look stand out. You can, let's see, you can do something like darker color, light and screen, overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear, pin light, hard makes difference. There's all these different types of layers that you can do. Honestly, it's just a little too much to do. So I'm just going to select normal, go over the occupancy and drag it down. See, what it does is that it gives it a little of a darker feel to it, to where the middle stands out. See how like the middle stands out and stuff like that? Awesome. Gives this really gross, earthy feel to it. So now what we need to do is we need to create text. We have absolutely no text. Now we want to stay with this theme, stay with this earthly gross theme that I keep saying over and over again. What we need to do is we need to create something that's consistent with it. We don't want, I guess, futuristic square pixel text and stuff like that with this. It just wouldn't flow. Remember, you want more of a design aspect. You want it grungy, dirty, distorted, things like that. So let's go open to Chrome, create a new tab, Now, this site is a site that I go to all the time. It's my favorite site. It's called DaFont. D-A and then F-O-N-T.com. DaFont.com. As you can see, it's right there, DaFont. They have just this massive collection of different types of fonts for you to use. Your selection is going to be over here on this left side. Go to, in the selection, let's go to destroy. Select destroy. Now we got this huge selection of different types of fonts. So let's just sit here for a second and try to find a really, really good one that's going to fit this photo. Don't see any yet. Ooh, this one, this I Heart Disaster one looks good. Honestly, I like that I Heart Disaster one. This No Warehouse one looks also pretty good. Ooh, this one right here. We're going to use this one, this Tosca Zero. So, for people that haven't downloaded fonts before, it's very easy for pretty much, I think it was Vista on, believe it was, but I know for a fact Windows 7 on, it's easy, like ridiculously easy to install fonts. Previous, all you have to do is unzip the contents, the TFF file, I think that's what it's called, TF file, into your fonts directory, which is located in your Windows directory. So very easy to do. So go to C drive, go to Windows, go to fonts, just drag it in there, it's installed. However, for people that have newer computers, click it, let it download, let it install, click. And this is, I use WinRAR for my, compressed files. Yeah, TTF file. Double click on it, wait for it to load up. Looks like a nice grungy look. Hit install. That's it. Now, let's get one more font for our punchline type of thing, or our tagline, something like that, or our URL or something to that extent. This one, Paint Scratch, looks kind of good. Ooh, I like this bullet in your head one. So let's go ahead and download this one again. By the way, the reason why I keep looking at this way is because this is my output monitor, so whatever I'm looking at, it's on this side. So if I'm constantly looking over like this, that's why. So let's go ahead and install this one as well. Alright, both installed. Back to Photoshop. Now we got this earthly grunge look. Now when we do the text, make sure it's above the dirt layer. So the first layer. You know what? I'm going to just double click it and name it ground, so that I can just reference the ground layer. So hit ground layer, new layer. Now we're going to write a text, and what we need to do is make sure it comes out white and stuff. So paint swatcher, color swatcher, whatever, go to white because we want people to read it. Hit the text over here in your toolbar, the text icon, and then what we're going to do is write paranormal. That's my previous one. Oh god, I forgot what I named it, or what I got. Bull in the head and Tosca Zero. Okay, I'm tired, leave me alone. Alright, tell me if you guys see it. There it is. Awesome. Alright, there's the first part. So it says paranormal, and now we need to put documentaries. Of course, don't put paranormal documentaries on yours for your site, because you know you're not paranormal documentaries. You want to be your own, so put your own name there. Okay. So now that we have that, what we need to do is we need to make it stand out. See, this text is very boring. It's very bland. It's not sticking out. It's just there. And that's a lot of times, a lot of groups and stuff, they'll just throw the text out there. They don't know how to edit it. They don't know how to make it look pretty. We'll have no fear. I'm going to show you how to do that. First off, we need to make it stand out. The way to do that is to double click on the layer itself. Right here on the right side, double click on documentaries. You'll get this properties panel, or this properties dialog jumping up at you. Now there's all these different types of things. Honestly, we're not in the early 2000s anymore. Leave bevel alone. Do not touch bevel. If you do, okay, I'll get like this big old ruler and smack your hand. Do not touch bevel. Please, I beg of you. Things that work really good in these situations is stroke. What stroke does is creates a border for it, or creates an border. And you can change the different things. Like you can create for the size of it. You can create like 15. However, oh dang it, wrong keyboard. You can select like 15, but look how crappy that looks. Only select one. Number one. You can do other things like put an inner shadow. That just makes it look beveled. Stay away. You can do inner glow. That just creates like an inner glow to it. Doesn't really make it look good, to be quite honest. Don't do that. Satin, what it does is it creates kind of like a overlay, like a shadow overlay. You can do this. It can be kind of good sometimes. I am going to use it for this one just because of the fact that it creates that grunge look to it. But as you can see, I'm not going to make the full, occupancy, make it full blast. I'm going to bring it down a lot to like 25. Yeah, let's just do 25. So it kind of gives it that grunge look. Now, the other one that I'm going to use, you can do other ones like cover or color overlay. That just, what it says. Gradient overlay creates gradient. Pattern overlay. Outer glow is another one that I am going to use for this project. However, I do not want this yellow poopy glow. I want a white because, it looks better. So, if you look, it's barely even showing. What I want is a bigger size. So down here in the elements, what we're going to do is make it a bigger size. Something like that. I don't know now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, let's keep that. Yeah, we're going to keep the outer glow, but we're going to take off the satin just because of the fact that it was just too overwhelming. As you can see, too overwhelming. You don't want to distract the user's eyes and stuff like that. So, good. Now drop a shadow on there because you want it to make it look like it's standing out. You don't really need to edit anything. Hit OK. Now we need to do the same thing to paranormal. So drop shadow, outer glow, make it white, not yellow. Perfect. Oops, forgot the stroke. All right. Now here is another thing that I personally do a lot with my projects. As you can see, a lot of the times with text, you can do things to where you can create texture, create layers to it. You can create different effects with it. Having them just stand like this or, like this can be kind of boring sometimes. It looks okay, but you want to remember, stand out. You want to be, something different. So doing things like putting the first layer, before it, kind of creates it so that it sticks out a little bit more, sticks out a little bit better. You know what I mean? Doesn't really make it boring and bland. Now with with using Photoshop brushes and stuff, we can add in little elements to kind of separate them, create really cool grunge look, things like that. But we'll get to that in a second. What we're going to do now is we're going to hit Control T on the paranormal part, which transforms it, and we're just going to kind of tilt the paranormal part just to create, you know, texture to it, you know, something different, something abnormal. So this is where we're at so far. This is the photo manipulation part of our tutorial. This is what we got so far. We can add more, which I am going to do. The next one that we're going to do is Photoshop brushes. Now this is a little bit different type of thing. This is something that more, I don't want to say advanced users use or anything. It's not really hard to do it, but it's not as easy to install compared to fonts. So I will guide you along the process. So let's go back open to Chrome. Control T, go to google.com. I go to Brush Easy all the time, but let's just look if there's something better. So I'm going to type in brushes, Photoshop brushes, and see what we get. I'm going to go to Brush Easy. As you can see, it's just brush, then eezy.com. This has this huge array of different types of brushes. Up at the top, go to brushes, and you just start seeing all these different ones. Now, we don't want to add stupid ones in. Like, for example, this, 58 Victorian animal brushes. Why would we want Victorian animal brushes on this? We don't. So we are going to stay away from random things like that. We need more grunge, more dirty stuff. So what we're going to do in the keywords at the very top, let's type in grunge. Nice. Look at this one. Grungy painted texture. Let's look at this. I guess it's not really what I want. It's not, you know, that looks like just like watercolor grossness. If that makes sense. So there's only found a little bit of it. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we didn't find anything in grunge. Let's type in abstract. All right. Didn't find anything in abstract too. All right, we're going to get off Brush Easy. Let's try to find a new one. DeviantArt is always a great resource for places for this type of stuff. We're in Photoshop brushes. Let's see. I haven't been on here in ages though. All right. Popular in 24 hours. No. More. Popular all the time. All right. Here we go. Now, let's look for a good brush. Ooh, right here. Perfect. Smoke Clouds brush. This is even better. We're finding some good ones. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just hitting right click and going to new tab. Oop, grunge brush right there. All right, I think we got the ones that we really want. All right, so right here, download file, save link as. I'm just gonna go ahead and save it on my desktop. It's easier to locate if you know what I mean. Save link as. This is a zip file. All right. Let's go ahead and close that. Wait for this to pop up. Close you. All right, so we got three brushes that are perfect for this. So open up Photoshop again. So our Photoshop brushes are on our desktop right now. How to do this? All right, I'm gonna be as good and descriptive as possible with only a limited amount of sleep as much. So that was a good derp face when I changed. See that? Anyway, so on your toolbar panel over here on the left, right here is your brush tool. Go ahead and select that. All right. So now that you selected that, you up in the top right here in this panel, you have an assortment of different types of brushes that you can select from. I already have a lot of brushes installed. How to install these brushes is you'll see this little icon up at the top right. Go ahead and click it. Go to Preset Manager. Once you do this, you have your preset manager of all your brushes that are installed and ones that you're about to install. So hit load because you want to load these brushes. Now you can't do them all at once. You have to do them individually. So go to desktop, and what we're going to do is select this ghost abstract one. Load grunge brush, load, and smoke and clouds brush. Hit. Now that we selected all those, they are all loaded in the very bottom. These are all the brushes. Now hit done. Now here comes the fun part. Now I didn't really explain what brushes are. So pretty much what they are is, obviously it's a paintbrush, but it creates different patterns that you can select and you can pretty much draw with, or you can select and create different, you know, effects with and stuff like that, preset effects that are created. It's really cool, and it can get addicting sometimes, so be careful of how much you use it. So we're going to select the ground layer. As you saw right here, I selected the ground layer. I'm going to create a new layer on top of that, and right now this is going to be our paintbrush layer. So I'm going to double click this and name it paintbrush layer. This is going to be our first layer of paintbrushes, okay? So I really don't want a white brush because it's just going to be too white right now. We will add some white as effect later, but we need more of a dark base. So let's select black. Now that we selected black as our color, up here in the top where we selected our brushes and stuff, click that, go all the way down to the very bottom of your selection. Now here are your brushes that we just did. Now this is a cloud one. I really like this one. It's one of my favorite ones because it just creates different effects in clouds. And see how I'm doing that? You can do like crazy things with it. However, I don't want mine like that. Oh, I'm tired. But so what we're gonna do is we're gonna select both sides and we're just gonna kind of build in some texture so people can read this. See, just like that. That's perfect. Now let's make a whole new layer. So above that paintbrush layer that we already have, let's create a new layer. Now click and drag that above your text layer of paranormal. See what this is going to do? It's going to create an effect above your text layer. So it creates a bigger depth of field. See like that? Perfect. Awesome. So now that creates more of a, you know, really cool look. However, we're using the same brush over and over again. We need to create a whole new different look to it. So let's create a different, grab another brush. Let's just go through these and see what they have. There's some cool ones, it looks like. You see how like it just creates different effects and layers. You can reuse them over and over and over and over again. Just don't overuse them. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, perfect. Look at that. That made it just dark and creepy looking. Perfect. Now, the problem that I'm seeing is that these sides are a little too dark. So what we're going to have to do is pull it down a little. Alright. We need to select the brown color, but we need a dark brown. Okay, let's select a new layer. Let's create the, or let's get the cloud. There we go. Oops. It's not really meshing the way I thought it would be doing. Maybe we need a darker one, not the cloud one. Like a thicker brush. that's a little too big. And then something that I didn't mention before is you could actually select the size of your brush as well up here. So you see that? We can go up and down, make it bigger, smaller. Perfect. So let's go ahead and add some different color. We need to cover this dark cloud right here because it's not going away. Okay, unfortunately I'm gonna have to delete this layer right here. Oh wait, it's because it's right there, isn't it? Yeah, that's why I wasn't covering. Figured it out. So we're gonna delete that layer because it was too much. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Creates like a really dark, grungy, earthy look. Alright. More dark, earthy look. Sweet. I think we did enough. Alright. Now let's select more of a lighter brown to go with the sides. Perfect. Oh, that's perfect. Now the problem is that as we're going along with this, that outer glow isn't meshing really well. So here's a quick tip to see if like things really work well, or if it doesn't. Remember, you want these words to stand out as much as possible, but you don't want it to be overbearing. Right now, in my eyes, it's overbearing. So what we're gonna do is select outer glow right here on the layer panels. Now look at that. That creates more of a really dark, earthy grunge look. Now it looks like the vines or the roots are growing over it and stuff. It looks this cover actually looks really, really good. Kind of looks like it's just from the earth, 6 feet under. All right, so now that we have that, let's create a layer above documentaries so that we can create effects over the documentaries parts. As you can see, I created the light texture. This is a grunge brush, and look, I just painted right over it. Perfect. Kind of makes it look dirty, things like that. Awesome. So now, with that said, I think the only thing that we need to do now this so far looks pretty good. I like it. I think it looks great. And now we need to add just a little bit more text, a little bit more information, things like that. So what I'm going to do is go to your text bar, or your text icon. We're going to put our website, www.paranormal-documentaries.com. Now, to see what it did to me, that's why I was kind of distracted when I was writing it. Didn't mention this. The reason why it does this, where half the text is selected, half is not, is because of the fact that the font does not support special characters like period or the hyphen. So, easy fix. Select it all. I think the one that we were going to use, dang it, I forgot the name of that. I'm not good with those names. Bullet in your head. So let's go to B, bullet in your head. Now see, this one supports the period, so we're good. So let's make the text smaller. So I'm going to go with 10 pixels. I'm going to set it in front of the documentaries so that kind of stands out. Double clicking paranormaldocumentaries.com and making stroke. That is it. And then boom, we are done. So yeah, this tutorial was just to create the image for your Facebook cover using other images, and the only other image we used was just that ground texture, and we just manipulated it a couple times to make it look like it was continuous, which is, like I said, it's pretty easy to do. It's just a matter of, rotating and making it look different, stuff like that. So now let's go ahead and save this image. Go ahead and hit Control Alt Shift S, and this pops up. Another method to doing it is File, Save for Web. You can save in different formats, meaning you can save it in PNG, GIF, JPEG, BMP if you're really that desperate. Honestly, PNG 24 saves as the best quality that you can do. Save it as PNG. Hit save. Desktop. I already have it as Facebook cover. Hit save. Control S to save your work. Facebook cover. Save. Hit OK. Now let's go to lovely old Facebook. All right. So now that we're on Facebook, I've had this cover on there for a while. Let's go ahead and click change cover, upload file, Facebook cover, open, let it upload. I'm downloading something. I'm downloading StarCraft 2 on this computer. I haven't played it yet on this computer. See, it's almost done. All right, there we go. There is our Facebook cover. Hit save changes, and we are done. This is how you make a good looking Facebook cover. As you saw, all the details that I did. Go ahead and try different methods, try different approaches, try different textures. This one I told you before was just really easy because of kind of like the ground textures and stuff. It's already grungy and stuff. It's easy to work with. So if you want to go through that route, through the exact same method as I did, and yeah, that's exactly how you do it. I'm going to be posting the other tutorial on how to create it through just Photoshop brushes here in a second. I am extremely tired and I might go to bed and might do it in the morning. I don't know yet. Debating on it. Anyways, thank you guys for following me and following paranormal documentaries, and we will have more tutorials for you guys soon. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and good luck out there, guys. Take it easy.